What's up, grinders? I'll be your host for some Thursday night football. My name is TJ Zwarych, and even though we got the Broncos for the third time in a primetime game, that's too much. We want some variety. We want a few better teams in here. That's all right. It's still football, and we're ready to talk about the slate. I am joined by Tasteful Tides. Tim, how you doing today?
Good. How are you? How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing pretty well. Life's been busy, but anytime we get to Thursday, that means we got the football week back, and I got my FanDuel Friday show with Dre the next day, and then of course Sunday is kind of the big show. So always busy with Agents of Fandom stuff throughout my Monday to Wednesday, and then as soon as Thursday hits, I get to dive into some sports a little bit. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm like you though. I'm pretty sick of this whole Denver stuff on prime time, and especially now we got two banged up teams that can't really move the ball. So I don't know. I don't know how you're thinking, but I'm thinking a little bit of I like the under tonight. To be honest with you, that's where I'm leaning.
I'm with you as well, and we got you covered at scoresandodds.com, your number one place for all things sports betting. Get ready for the NFL season and arm yourself with the best tools and analysis. Check out the brand new Parlay IQ, currently free for everyone. Use it to build optimal same game parlay based lineups on thousands of games worth of simulated data. And I, like you, like the under today. I'm with you on that one. Have you pinpointed any other bets that you have somewhat of an interest in? And then, kind of, how do you view this game shaking up today?
Yeah, so I would lean towards the Colts +3, but I think if you agree with me, you should just take the money line. And then for props, as you can see on Parlay IQ, Mike Boone has a plus 28% expected value for his under 30 and a half rushing yards. So, I mean, that would be our Parlay IQ's top prop bet. So, I think if that's available to you, that sounds like a pretty good bet to me.
Yep, I'm with you on that one because I think if we're going to see Mike Boone get over 30 rushing yards, it's one of two ways that it happens. It's a, one of three ways: a total blowout, Gordon re injures himself, or Boone breaks off a large run in limited carries. Because I don't necessarily think Boone's a bad play today, as we're going to get into. But if you're going to get a big score from him, I think it's going to be from. If the Colts are ahead and then Boone starts getting involved in the passing game. What do you think about that one?
I completely agree. I I don't like to play Gordon and Boone together in the same lineup today. I would make that as a rule. Um, I like Boone as like a contrarian option if you're gonna use like Russell as your captain on DraftKings, because I think Russ is gonna be somewhat lower owns at that space, and then you could do that with like a contrarian like 5-1 stack, something like that. Like I don't hate Boone in a vacuum, but I don't really like him with Gordon.
Yeah, and in an optimizer, I kind of agree and disagree with you because in an optimizer, I like that rule because I don't necessarily think I would like any of the lineups it's going to auto spit out for me unless I made a bunch of other rules as opposed to just that one. But I do like pairing Gordon and Boone together in some specific types of lineups, which we're going to get into. We're going to start on DraftKings today, but before we do that, hit the like button for us. We already got about 150 people watching. We're excited about some football. Slide your finger over and hit the like button, and let's dive into this Thursday night football slate. Starting on DraftKings, who do you like best at the captain position today? We are going to let's start talking optimally. We're going to build our favorite. Um, we're going to put our favorite captain position in. We're going to talk about our favorite flex plays, and then we'll after that we'll dive into some tournament takes.
Yep. So I'm really conflicted. For me. It's either going to be Cortland Sutton or Melvin Gordon. It kind of depends on what my final kind of take would be about the game, and I do think that this game's going to be close. I do think that Denver is going to be playing a little bit of catch up in this game, so I'm going to lean towards Cortland Sutton. but it's close between Sutton and Gordon. See, I was kind of lower on Gordon earlier in the day, but then Murray was inactive. I thought Murray was going to be active, but he's not. So, and it sounds like Melvin Gordon's really going to be the guy today. So we actually have Gordon as our top captain. So for in our sim tool. So and then we have Sutton second. But I think personally I'm going to lean towards Sutton.
I'm still muted here. The dogs were barking. It's like you said, it really depends on the game script build you want to go with here, what you think is going to happen in the game, because I think it's those two answers right there. It's Cortland Sutton and it's Melvin Gordon. It's not wrong to do Russell Wilson. If you really like your build with Russell Wilson, that's totally fine too. But I think it's one of those three today. And for me personally, I think I would go Sutton and cash just based on projections. But my just like I'd want to take the top projected play, and you get a bit of a it is Wilson, but you get a discount onto Sutton. And so I think I'd go with that for cash. However, my personal favorite builds would be with Melvin Gordon in that captain position. If we are putting Sutton there, if we lock in Sutton in that captain position for our optimal kind of cash game style lineups, we shoot over to the flex. Who would be your kind of next person that you are absolutely putting in? For me personally, I think if Sutton's our captain, we need Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Absolutely. So my favorite way to go about it, I think, with no Javonte Williams, we think this running game is going to be pretty concentrated. We know the pass game is pretty concentrated to Cortland Sutton. I think my favorite way to start my lineups would be to go Wilson, Gordon, Sutton, and then to and then to just look for some value after that. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I just think that just be careful if you're making multiple teams today. Like the 4-2 build is going to be like the highest utilized stack today. And it's going to be, I think, a little bit overowned. I would try to go like a more 3-3 type build, or for like larger field tournaments, if you really like one side of this game, go like a 5-1 or even a 1-5. Like it just the 4-2 is fine for cash games, but I think that your chances of being duped with a 4-2 are kind of high. So just be aware of that. Like, not that it's bad to put in $15 and get 5,100 back with like a 400 person dupe, but it's just it can be a negative EV play in the long run.
I agree with you there. And for tournaments especially, there's some wonky type of lineups that I really like going with tonight. For optimals, however, I think this is going to be kind of our best way to get the most amount of points. And that's honestly, I very rarely play cash for anything. The one sport I do is NFL. And my favorite place to do it with is, to be honest with you, at NFL single entry. I just find that there's like a lot of edge in the very small field tournament contests and double up, triple up, quintuple up type things in single game stuff, because it's not that hard to pick a good scoring lineup. It's very difficult to pick the best lineup, but it's not that hard to pick a good scoring lineup. So I think going kind of on the Denver assault to start this way is the best way to go about things. If we're who would be your favorite Colt for cash game optimal style lineups today? Is it Hines all the way at 68 in the mid tier at 6,800? Is it Pittman Jr. who's priced up? Or is it somebody like Philip Lindsay, who is $600, just got called up and is expected to get a bunch of carries? To me, I think he has to be a cash game lock.
Yeah, he's the cash game lock. And personally, I think Hines is the cash game lock also. But I mean, this is definitely like a cash game type lineup that we're building right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be like very, very limited upside in a large field GPP. But for cash games, I think you have to play Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And then if we're putting in Lindsay in that fourth spot, it's you can kind of fill out yourself what might be the best possible play to kind of go with. Obviously, different guys there like Hines and Pittman and Matt Ryan that you're able to go with there. Let's talk some tournaments. Before we kind of get into specific players at price points that we like, talk to me about let's keep doing that. Talk to me about kind of how you like to build a script in this game for tournaments, because like you mentioned, it's a 4-2 is probably going to be pretty chalky. You like mixing it up with either a 3-3, a 5-1 maybe. That's my favorite way about going about this. 5 with Denver, 1 Colt running it back on the other side. I think DraftKings and FanDuel are very different stories, and for me, Philip Lindsay kind of is a must have on DraftKings, and I'm not really worried about the ownership. If I was running 150, he's somebody I'd probably press the lock button on, or build a rule that I want to have at least one of Lindsay captain or Lindsay flex in every single one of my lineups, just because of that price tag today. How are you planning on going a general lineup building standpoint in tournaments?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on your brief point about Lindsay at captain. Just be really careful not to just play the obvious Lindsay at captain lineup, which would be like Russ, Sutton, Ryan, Pittman kind of deal. Like, that's going to get duped a ton. Like, if people are going to be like, oh, I'll just play Lindsay. And I don't even think Lindsay at captain is that great of a play, but if you do it, it's kind of like Big T shipping with a captain kicker. It was duped a ton. And you're just not going to be unique if you do it the obvious way. So just be kind of responsible about it if you elect to do that.
And those are the ones that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is I love doing that's one of the reasons I love doing like the 25-man tournaments, 50-man tournaments, 75-man tournaments for this stuff, because it's awesome. It's you ship a solo first, and those you get your duped in the million. Yeah, you're not getting first place, but you're still making quite a bit of money. So I like to have those type of lineups that I feel more confident about, and then I sprinkle in with some smaller dollar amounts the ones that have a chance to actually be solo and get a first place shot, or duped with 2 or 3 other people, so you're still winning 100K type of thing. Let's hit that like button so that we can win some money tonight. Keep doing these shows for free, help you win some money. Got 200 people watching now. Let's get that like up. Let's get it to at least 50 here for us. Come on. My favorite way to get unique in tournaments today is this is my favorite, I think, showdown slate of the season for leaving salary on the table. I don't typically I like to do it for a reason. I don't like doing it just to get unique. I want to have a reason to do it. And so many of these games, like, I don't want to take a random tight end who might score 1 touchdown over somebody who's going to get 8, 9, 10 targets and could really put up a monster score. But in a game that I think might end 20-10, I think I put in the expert survey earlier today, I'm leaning on the under. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring. So that's why I don't mind taking shots on either a low-owned random backup tight end to score a touchdown, or the way I'm building today is for a defensive-heavy game. Fire up the defense or a kicker in that captain spot, and don't fill out the optimal amount of scoring players after that. Set up with running backs, set up with another kicker, set up with another defense, leave a bunch of money on the table so that, yeah, somebody else might have the same game script, but you're not going to be duping that type of lineup with near as many people, because it's not going to look that good in projections.
Yeah, and I think that's why we still have Philip Lindsay projected fairly low owned, or lower owned than I was anticipating. We still have him at 11%. And I think it's because we're assuming that people will round out their lineup and not eat enough salary to play him. That's what my guess is anyway. But just keep in mind that he's projected for eight fantasy points, which is ranked number 9 overall in projections. So that's a tremendous value. I'm assuming in kind of the higher dollar single entry stuff, he's going to be much higher than 11%. But these projections are for, like, I think the $15 150 max tournament. So I would definitely get overweight that in the 150 type build.
Yeah, I am with you 100% in that one. I think for me personally, like I'd be getting like on FanDuel, which we're about to talk about, Lindsey's a pretty good value. On DraftKings, to me, he's a absolute must play. Like he's somebody that even if I was running 150, even if I was running every single contest on DraftKings max entered, I think I would have Philip Lindsay in every lineup because at $400, he really can't kill you, or like he really can't. And so I think I think that would be something I would be going heavily overweight on. I'm trying to see if we have any QQs that don't relate specifically to FanDuel, because those ones we will hit as we get to them. It kind of looks so far like most of the ones we've gotten have been just FanDuel. I'm looking in the Discord, NFL Crunch Time chat. I'm looking in the YouTube chat as well. So make sure you get your questions in there. We will answer the Discord ones first. Unless we get a ton of likes on DraftKings, then maybe we'll have to start. Or sorry, a ton of likes on YouTube. Maybe then we'll have to start looking there first. Would you play Philip Lindsay with Nyheim Hines? Yes or no?
So originally, I had said no to that question, and I thought about it longer, and I said I think you can absolutely. I currently have a lineup with those two in them, so yes.
I think absolutely, because Lindsay's without a doubt my favorite play on DraftKings, and Hines I think is a very good play as well. If Lindsay was priced up, I maybe wouldn't want to rip both of them, but on DraftKings specifically, on FanDuel, no, I wouldn't play Hines and Lindsay together. I'll say that. That would be a no-no for me. On DraftKings, I have no problem just because of his price tag.
Yeah, two guys I wanted to talk about real quickly is that Kendall Hinton was he's still at the practice squad, so it sounds like KJ Hamler is going to retain his wide receiver 3 role, and he's only projected for 1% ownership, and we have him in the flex optimal at 11.5%, which is a really nice positive leverage play. I wouldn't play him in single entry, definitely not in cash. But if you're making multiple teams tonight, I really like him in a tournament setting just because of the ownership. Like Sutton and Judy and Gordon, they're going to get so much ownership. So if Hamler even just breaks one play, he could be in the optimal. Same thing with Eric Saubert. He is going to be about 1% owned. And I think if you're eating a lot of salary to play Lindsay, you could throw Saubert maybe in like 5 out of like, I don't know, 75 lineups or 2 out of 30 lineups or something like that. He played on 80% of the snaps last week. They're pretty much done with Albert O. So I think he is another really great positive leverage play.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think that's a really good call. There was a question about Saubert or Lindsay as a last piece on DK, and I would go with Lindsay there, but I really do like both of those plays. Let's kick it over to FanDuel. What I do like about the Hamler call as we switch over is he's one of those guys that, yeah, he's probably only going to get 2-3 targets max. Maybe he only gets 1, but those are going to be specific plays that he either catches it on a shovel pass and it's designed for him to catch it and run, or it's going to be a 50-yard bomb. Those are going to be the only 2 types of situations that he has that he gets a target. So they're very high value targets. If he scores a touchdown, it might be a 50-yard touchdown and you need him in a low scoring game. So even though I don't think the likelihood of him doing something is overly high, if he does do something, there's a very high likelihood that you need to have him in your lineup. So I like the Hamler call there quite a bit. We did have a question about FanDuel, and it is a good place to start us off here. Who is your favorite captain for a single entry? Your favorite MVP for single entry? Is it Russell Wilson? Because that's kind of who it has to be in cash on FanDuel. Is it Russell Wilson? And what stage of tournaments, how many lineups are you building before he's not?
That's a good question, because definitely in single entry, I think you have to play Russell Wilson. I have a really hard time getting away from him today on FanDuel. He's projected just so much better in terms of raw points. He's easy to get to. So for that answer, I think it's got to be Russ. If I'm I don't know if I'm making 20. I guess I'd go probably 16 Russell captains. I would say that's fair.
Okay. Okay, I like that. That's actually, to be honest with you, more than I would go, I think. In my
Yeah.
main lineup on FanDuel, like kind of my cash style single entry lineup, he's definitely my MVP. He's definitely in my MVP spots. The one I'm trying to look at a different style lineup right now. I realize I don't have Saubert in any, and I want to, or however you say his name, I want to try and get one of those in. But Russell Wilson, I think, is the cash game, the single entry MVP. For tournaments, my favorite way to differentiate are either like Melvin Gordon is a not so sneaky, but just he'll be a bit more different than Russell Wilson way of doing it. I like putting Melvin Gordon in there and building my lineup for the Broncos to blow him out of the water and with a bunch of Colts there, or with Gordon as my MVP and then loaded up with Brandon McManus and Broncos defense, that kind of build. If I'm trying to get very sneaky, I think Mike Boone is somewhat interesting in that spot just because what if Gordon gets hurt early? Boone could absolutely be the MVP in a very low owned spot. Or what if Indy gets out to an early lead, he ends up playing more downs and he ends up catching a lot of passes. Both are possible ways for him to get there. Any of the Indy receivers, I don't mind as an MVP spot. But for me, my favorite for tournaments is either going to be McManus or the Broncos defense. How about you?
Yeah, to be different. Are you talking about to be different at MVP for tournaments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. So I think Naheem Hines is interesting. I really like the Gordon call. I really like that idea of playing Gordon at your MVP in like a 4-1 Denver onslaught stack with like the Denver D or something like that. I really like that idea. We didn't touch too much on like Jerry Jeudy. Um, it's going to be interesting because he actually gets the best individual matchup today going, in the slot. But I just don't think that he has the same chemistry with Russ as Sutton does. But that's how the field's going to react. And Jerry Jeudy is an incredibly talented receiver. And if his ownership is really going to be 8% at captain MVP, then I think he's worth a couple shots because he does have massive upside. Michael Pittman is 5% at MVP, and we know how much the Colts can just funnel targets his way. So I think he's definitely worth being in your pool.
Yeah, I'm with you there, and I honestly think I would only play Jeudy with either Philip Lindsay himself, Jerry Jeudy, or Russell Wilson as my MVPs. I think those would be maybe Matt Ryan. I think those would be the only scenarios that I'd want to play Jerry Jeudy today. Situations where he doesn't just catch 5 passes for 70 yards. Like he has a huge day. Jerry Jeudy's the MVP, or Russell Wilson has a really big day, and so he ends up being needed there. Like that's kind of the only type scenarios I want to play Jerry Jeudy today. Another Johnny Watson in chat brings up a good point. I like that nobody is mentioning Alec Pierce. He's somebody that picked up a few more targets last game. Rookie started the year injured, and his similar to KJ Hamler that we talked about, he's got a lot of high value targets. 5 targets 2 games ago, 6 targets last game, and they do like to target him deep as well. So Alec Pierce is an interesting play, especially on FanDuel. I like him a lot more over there than I do on DraftKings. And he is probably, I'm not, like, full disclosure, I'm getting to very, very little Indy today. And because salary is not an issue, I'm not getting to a lot of Pierce. But on a point per dollar standpoint on FanDuel, I think Pierce would be my favorite Colt today on FanDuel.
Oh no. Oh yeah, on FanDuel, yeah, definitely. His price on FanDuel is really quite nice, and he's only going to be around 11% in the flex. He's going to be a little higher owned on DK, but that whole mid range is going to be kind of interesting. That whole Mo Alley Cox, Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell kind of area is kind of like, it's great for tournaments. It's tough for single entry and cash because they could all burn you one way or the other. They could all burn you because they score twice or because they get 0. So I was much higher on Mo Ali Cox earlier in the day, and then I'm worried that people are going to chase his last game, and I think that's what's driving up ownership with him, is that they're seeing that 2 touchdown performance from last week. But the thing is that he's earned that performance. Like, he's getting more and more routes every single week. So I certainly don't think he's a bad play, but we currently have him a little bit over-owned over on DK.
So out of that group on FanDuel, you got Mo Alley Cox at 8K, Alec Pierce at 7.5, Philip Lindsay at 7.5, Paris Campbell at 7. Who is your favorite? Which one are you most likely to leave out of a lineup, specifically on FanDuel?
Honestly, I think Paris Campbell is the one I'm most likely to leave out, which is a difficult decision because he's running a ton of routes, but he's just not getting the targets. So I don't really see that changing today. So he'd be the most likely to leave out. For large field tournaments, I like the Alec Pierce take, but for smaller field, it would be Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you completely that Paris Campbell would be the one that I want to leave off. How about Russell Wilson at captain with 3 Bronco pass catchers, and you leave 8K on the table? I think it could be fine, but I think you want to make sure you got Philip Lindsay, maybe and Nyheim Hines in that lineup, and you're kind of thinking that Indy is going to get ahead and he's got to use his pass catchers. What I struggle with that is I feel like I want one of the Broncos running backs.
I think 8K might be a little ambitious. I think 5K would be okay to leave, or 4K definitely, but I think 8K might be too aggressive.
All right.
I certainly would hate to talk that person off of $1 million win though. So
very good points. We got a few more QQs here. Jerry Jeudy or Melvin Gordon at captain. Who do you like better?
Well, 1v1s in Showdown are tough because I really would need to know the rest of your team. It really does matter. But in a vacuum, straight up, I'd say Melvin Gordon.
Yep, I agree with you there. Pardon me. Kylan Granson in a DK GPP. What do you think?
I think it's a great play. He's a great leverage play off of the Mo Alley Cox ownership.
There it is. I love taking random tight end pass catchers who in single game slates. It is one of my favorite things to do. Checking in the Discord, see if we got anything there. Nothing in the Discord. Back over to YouTube. Captain Sutton, then would you play Pitt or Ryan with Hines? Captain Sutton. Would you play? Yeah, sorry.
I might prefer to go with Ryan on that team.
Yeah, I don't have anything wrong with either of those. For me, my lineups, the ones that I have 2 Colts are the ones 2 or more Colts. I'm typically trying to get Matt Ryan in, and the ones that when I'm only having 1, those are the ones where I'm looking to fade Matt Ryan and either just have one of the running backs or one of the pass catchers there. Few minutes away from lock still. Make sure you hit the like button. The people are letting us down on the likes right now. We got to bump that one up a little bit. Come on, people. At least get us to 50 here before we head into lock. If you have any more questions, make sure you get them in here, and we got some time to answer. Tim, give us a final score take for the game, and give us a first touchdown take.
I think I had it as 21-17 in my survey for the Colts winning 21-17. First touchdown, I almost want to say Philip Lindsay, but that feels like too chalky. I Let's go with our guy, Alec Pierce.
I like it. And Alec Pierce bombed to start the game for the Colts. The two that I like for I haven't looked at the odds, but just I think the most likely first touchdown for me is going to be Melvin Gordon. I think the final score is going to be Broncos 20, Colts 10. I think they're going to win handily, a low scoring game that they're playing slowly and in control of the entire game. And my sneakier kind of first touchdown that I don't mind is the Broncos defense. I think maybe they get a pick six off of Matt Ryan to start the game. If you're doing 5-1 Denver with Denver as Denver's defense as the captain, who's your one Colt you're running it back with?
Probably Pittman.
Michael Pittman, I think, is the best option. He's probably also the chalkiest option. I think you can go Nyheim Hines, and I think you can even try to leave it a bunch of salary on the table with Alec Pierce. But my favorite option would be Pittman as well. What about Indy's kicker in this game? Are you looking to play? Him at all? Chase McLaughlin.
Both of the kickers in this game are spectacular floor plays. This game will be played at altitude. McManus would be my preferred one, but they're both great. I almost don't even like talking about them because I feel like they're so boring to roster. But yes, they should absolutely be in your player pool. They're fine in any format, cash or GPP.
Yeah, I am with you 100% on that one. We are a couple minutes to lock. We don't have any other questions here, so it looks like we can get out of here. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Make sure you check out Scores and Odds, Parlay IQ to build some stuff. You still got a couple minutes to do that. Get your final lineups in. Make sure you hit lock. Make sure you hit save. Make sure your dummy lineup isn't just sitting there without having clicked save and you don't realize that it never did, so it reverts back as soon as lineup hits. Good luck tonight. We hope you finish near the top. We hope we do as well. And I will see you back tomorrow on Friday for the FanDuel Friday show with Dre. When are the people going to see you back next, Tim?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think a Sunday, the GPP final take show with Eric Bimefor.
All right. Love to see it. I'll be on that one at the end of the month as well. So good luck tonight, everyone. On behalf of myself, Tim, and our amazing producer, Steve, that'll do it. Peace.